My parents demanded I hand over my 950K penthouse to my brother, so I vanished without a word. Thanksgiving used to mean something to me, not because of the food or family games or that cheesy playlist my mom always played on repeat. It meant something because I believed, for years, that maybe this year would be different. Maybe my parents would actually see me. Maybe my brother would act like more than a walking disaster wrapped in charm. Maybe, for once, I would not feel like a tool the family used only when something needed fixing. But this year, it was the year that broke the illusion for good. I walked into my parents' place with a bottle of wine, a pie from my favorite bakery, and zero expectations. Their house looked exactly the same. Beige walls, fake plants, the smell of overcooked stuffing, and the same awkward silence that always followed me through the front door. Brandon was already there, my younger brother. Same old grin, same lazy posture. He was sitting on the couch like a prince in a throne room he did not earn. Mom came over to hug me. Her sweater smelled like cinnamon and stress. Dad gave me the usual pat on the back, like I was a coworker showing up for a shift he didn't think I deserved time off from. We sat down for dinner. Me, my parents, Brandon, Aunt Deborah, Uncle Mike, even Cousin Jenna had made it, despite living 2 hours away. Everyone had a plate. Everyone had something to say, except me. Because I know that look on Dad's face. I had seen it before, right before he announced Brandon's last big business idea, the one that failed in 6 months and took 10 grand of my emergency fund with it. Back then, I had smiled, said it was okay, that family helps family. Never again. Dad cleared his throat and stood behind his chair. He held the carving knife like he was giving a speech. "Mason," he said, "we've been talking. Your brother needs a reset." I blinked. "Okay." "He deserves a real chance," Dad said. "You know that. He's been through a lot." He turned to the table. Everyone nodded like this was a script they had rehearsed without me. Then he dropped it. "We want you to give him your penthouse." I stared at him. "What?" "He deserves stability," Dad said again. "He's your brother." I looked at Mom. She wouldn't meet my eyes. She added softly, "He's going to be a father." Brandon coughed and looked down. "Wait, what?" "It's early. She's barely a few weeks," Mom said quickly. "But he needs space, a future. And you're single." That last part hit harder than the rest, like I was less deserving of a home I built because I didn't come with a girlfriend and baby in tow. I worked for that penthouse. 3 jobs, 12-hour days, skipped birthdays, lost a relationship over the hours I put in. No one helped me. Not one person at that table offered $1 when I took out the loan. But now, they wanted it. You know what hurt the most? No one objected. Not Aunt Deborah, not Uncle Mike, not even Jenna, who once cried on my couch for 2 hours when her boyfriend dumped her, and I made her tea and gave her the spare bedroom. They all looked at me like I was being selfish. Dad put down the knife and said, "You're lucky. You've got no one else to worry about." So now being alone was a reason to be punished? I stood up. Everyone froze. "You're serious?" I asked. Mom reached for my hand. "Honey, please, don't make this dramatic. Think about what you're doing." "No," I said. "You think about what you're asking." Brandon finally spoke. "Come on, man, it's just an apartment." I stared at him. "No, it's not. It's 10 years of work. It's the only thing I ever got to call mine, and you all want it because I don't have a baby or a wife." That's when I realized something. They never saw me as family, just as a resource. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I folded my napkin, put it on the table, and I walked out. As I left, I heard Mom say, "Mason, please don't be like this." But I didn't stop. Because for the first time, I saw the truth. They didn't love me. They loved what I could do for them. I got in my car. sat there for a moment. And I smiled. Not because I was okay, but because I finally knew what I needed to do. Walk away. Walk away. For good. If you're not following our channel, you might never see it again. But if you're subscribed and use the bell, congratulations! You'll always have access to the most interesting stories whenever you want to watch and listen. They say success speaks for itself. But when you come from a family that only sees you as a wallet with legs, success only makes you more useful. Not more respected, not more loved, just more available. That was me. Mason Reed, son, older brother, the one who always had it together. Or at least that's what they told themselves. Let me take you back to the beginning. I got my first job at 15, stocking shelves at a grocery store after school. Not because I wanted extra cash for games or clothes, but because Dad said, if you want things, you earn them. Brandon never had to work, ever. When he crashed Mom's car at 17, Dad covered it. When he failed out of his first year of college, Mom took out a loan so he could try again at another school. When he couldn't keep a job for longer than a season, they called it burnout, sensitivity, anxiety. When I said I was tired, they told me to man up. I graduated with honors, took a job in tech, moved into a shoebox apartment with no heat, worked 16-hour days, saved every bonus, skipped weddings, skipped sleep. By 26, I put down a deposit on a penthouse in downtown Seattle, took out a $750,000 loan. My savings? $525,000. Every cent mine. And when I signed the contract, I cried. Not because of the debt, not because I was scared, because it was mine. Finally, mine. The first time my parents visited, they didn't say congratulations. They said, wow, you have space for a nursery. When I told them I was single and not planning for a family anytime soon, Dad laughed. You're not getting younger. Mom said nothing, just smiled in that way she does when she thinks she knows better. Brandon visited once. He brought a friend, ate all my snacks, asked if the floors were heated. Said, must be nice to live this good. He didn't ask how I got there, didn't care that I hadn't slept more than 5 hours a night in years. He just saw the finish line. Never the bruises from the race. Every time someone in the family needed money, guess who they called? When Jenna's car broke down, when Aunt Deborah's AC gave out, when Brandon needed to invest in his new crypto startup that never launched, I gave, and gave, and gave, because they were family, and because I believed that being good meant being useful. But no one ever asked me if I was okay. No one ever said, thank you. It was just expected. Because I always said yes. Because I had more. Because I made it. And in their minds, that meant I owed them. So when Dad asked me to hand over my penthouse, it wasn't a surprise. It was just the final bill. Years of obedience, years of silence, years of proving myself to people who never looked past their own needs. You know the funny part? I never told them about the night I nearly quit everything. The night my blood pressure spiked and I fainted at my desk. The ER doctor said, you need to slow down. But I didn't, because I couldn't. Because slowing down meant stopping, and stopping meant letting everyone down. But now I was done. Done being the insurance policy, the backup plan, the obedient one. I wasn't angry. I was free. And I had a plan. Before we go further, don't forget to like this story, hit subscribe, and tap the bell so you don't miss what happens next. I drove home that night with the engine off, just coasted through the city, lights reflecting on rain-slick pavement. I needed silence, time to think without an audience. They wanted me to hand over my penthouse like a gift, their gift back to Brandon. But this was my life, my years of sacrifice, my dreams built with my sweat. They didn't see me, just a resource, a provider. And once I refused, I became the problem. So I decided to disappear. Careful, quiet, planned. First step, finances. I met with Alada Hart, the lawyer I'd worked with when refinancing the loan a year ago. Smart dresser, even sharper mind. He shook my hand and said, "You're doing the right thing, but this will take finesse." We started moving assets. New account, LLC, funds transferred, a trust in Wyoming, phone calls made from anonymous lines, documents notarized in the middle of nowhere. It felt clandestine, illegal, and yet totally liberating. I slept better knowing each day brought me closer to freedom. Second step, logistics. I rented a small house in Capitol Hill, a sub 10-minute walk from everything I needed. Not penthouse, not grand, but mine, a fresh page. I started packing, slowly, nightly, a box here, a toolbox there, clothes, books, the photo of me and Jenna on my first acceptance letter to University of Washington. One night, I removed a painting Brandon gave me on my birthday. It's beautiful, but it was his way of reminding me he'd helped. I dropped it in the boxes. It felt like shedding skin. Third step, people. I called Tyler, my best friend since high school. He came over that Thursday. We ate grilled cheese sandwiches and drank bad beer. "I'm really doing this," I said. Tyler nodded. "You deserve this." He never asked for details, never judged, just held space. I canceled services in my name. Garage empty, gym membership inactive, subscriptions paused, no trace. But I kept one thing active, my email. Private, encrypted, only for Elijah and Tyler. And then came the hardest part, the letter. I spent hours drafting it. No blame, no bitterness, just facts, boundaries, and a declaration. To my family, I gave you my best years, my work, my trust. You returned it by demanding the home I built and ignoring what it cost me. I am moving out permanently, effective immediately. Please do not contact me. Any attempts to do so will be taken as harassment. Wishing you all well, Mason Reed. I folded it carefully. No flourish, no emotion. On moving day, I woke before dawn. Quiet, packaged, nervous. I took one last look at the penthouse. My name on the mailbox, the view I worked for. Didn't cry, didn't hesitate. Then I turned the key, locked the door, and left. That night, I stayed at Tyler's place. I didn't sleep much. I processed too much. They will call me ungrateful, selfish, cold. They will tell stories to justify their demands. Maybe they already have. But I am not theirs anymore. I am mine. Mason woke to silence in the Capitol Hill house. No penthouse hum, no view of gleaming towers, no echo of footsteps down the hallway that had always felt a little too familiar, as though they belonged to someone else. He rolled over, stretched, and felt lighter than he had in years. And then his phone buzzed. 4 missed calls, 3 texts, 1 voicemail, all from lines he'd already erased. Voicemail. "Mom, Mason, please call us, we're worried." Voicemail, "Dad, you're making a big mistake, son." Voicemail, "Brandon, dude, just answer your phone." He didn't. He showered, made coffee, let the sunlight smoke out the fear, did yoga stretches. Then he sat at the kitchen table, laptop open, email ready, not to reply, to breathe. The day before Thanksgiving was crawling to midday when Tyler knocked and brought breakfast burritos. "Ready?" he asked quietly, like they were sneaking out on a back road. "Yeah," Mason said. He sipped coffee, acid and sweet. "Let's do this." Through the afternoon, the media started whispering. An old fraternity brother posted on LinkedIn. Heard Mason Reed left the penthouse. Seems family fell apart. That one wasn't malicious, just curiosity. But then, a local blog picked it up. Son turns his back on family after being asked to hand over the penthouse. Controversial call from Seattle elite. The comments section heated fast, half defending him, half calling him spoiled. Meanwhile, Mason's lawyer, Elijah, sent a firm notice to Raymond and Linda Reed. Any contact with Mason would be treated as harassment. Documents ready, enforcement in place. That night, Mason watched the democracy in action. Some supporters, some haters. But most weren't family. None had lived the nights he did. Brandon called late. No anger, just slurred confusion. "You okay?" Mason asked. "Yeah, Man, I messed up." But Brandon didn't apologize. He admitted he was scared. His new girlfriend, early pregnancy, roommate stress. He never said he loved the penthouse more than Mason. Still, Mason paused. Wanted to say, "You don't get it," but didn't. They ended without promises, just words. On day 3, Aunt Deborah texted, clipped, defensive. "We are hurt. We cannot believe you would do this." Mason didn't respond. At work, he kept the news quiet. Told colleagues he moved for a fresh start. They patted his back. None understood the wound, because it wasn't just that he left, it was that he broke the mold. By Saturday, his phone buzzed with notes from Jenna. She texted, "I get it. I'm sorry Mom and Dad pushed too hard." He didn't know what to feel. Relief? Sadness? Guilt that she had to suffer too? He replied, "Thank you." Sunday morning, he walked down to Lake Washington. The water was cold, beautiful, still. Few boats, crisp air. He turned his back on the city. No more penthouse, no more expectations. That night, the first message he received in months carried real weight. "Aunt Deborah, we are planning a letter of apology and hope you will attend Thanksgiving next year." He stared at it. The wound throbbed, but he recognized it. That voice in him whispered, "Choose peace." But another hissed, "Not yet." He closed his eyes, let the thoughts smear across his mind. Family is what you choose. Peace is what you protect. He didn't reply. I didn't expect to become a headline. Not on Nextdoor, not in the city pages, not even on social media. But someone, an old family friend, sent me a link. Seattle Suburb Voice. Seattle developer cuts ties with family over penthouse dispute. I opened it slowly. The article started with neutral facts. Mason Reed, 32, recently severed ties with his family after being asked to give up a penthouse he bought himself. Parents and brother have issued no comment. Then it shifted to speculation. One local reader wonders if Reed is suffering post-pandemic burnout. Others say lethal family expectations. And then it hit me. They thought this was about them using me, and they thought I was weak. I was fragile. I was broken. I closed the browser. My heart pounded. That night, I sat at the kitchen table with Tyler. I told him how it felt. Vindicated. Stung. Seen. He nodded. They made you the villain in their story. He paused, then asked, "Do you regret not giving in?" I didn't hesitate. No. I believed that so deeply it cracked me open. I decided then I wouldn't run. I would stand. I wasn't going to vanish into private peace. Not yet. I logged into a separate account on LinkedIn, anonymous, typed out my version of events. No anger, no instructions, just facts. I built my penthouse from years of hard work and sacrifice. My family offered no financial assistance. They asked me to hand it over. I refused. I walked away. I'm maintaining legal boundaries. I posted it late one night. Within hours, comments started rolling in. I did the same thing. Thank you for saying it. I thought I was alone. My parents asked me to bail out my younger brother too. And this told me something important. I was not a villain. I was not broken. I was visible. I woke up to messages from strangers who said, "Your courage is healing me. Your story helped me leave my own toxic family." One woman from Gig Harbor said she opened up to her husband after months of hiding a similar burden. That morning, I realized my voice has value. My silence had cost me more than my penthouse did. Later that week, my phone rang. It was Grandma Jeannie. Her voice trembled. "Son, I read what you wrote. Thank you for being brave. You helped me remember there was another option." I felt tears sting my eyes. She told me stories I'd never heard. Of her father losing everything for the sake of appearance, of her mother choosing other people's comfort over her own dreams. I listened, told her I loved her. She said, "It's not too late if you want us." I sensed the cracks healing. Quiet forgiveness. But I didn't answer yet. That Friday, I met Brandon at an empty coffee shop. He looked lost in a hoodie, years too big. "I'm sorry," he said. I didn't know what to say. Mom and Dad said I deserve it. His voice wavered. I didn't know. He looked at me. Really looked. "I didn't want this house," I said softly. "I wanted you to try." "But you never helped." He nodded. "I'll support you," he said, "in your new place." I imagined that. It felt okay. That Sunday afternoon, Aunt Deborah messaged again. She floated the idea of a video call family intervention, a reunion, a reset. "They missed me," she said. They got the message. I paused. Did I want to forgive them? To rebuild? Not yet, but I wanted the right ending. I replied, "I miss parts of you. I will not be part of any intervention. I forgive you when you change. Until then, I stay here for my peace." That night, I watched the sun set over the city from my new bedroom window. I thought of the penthouse, empty, clean, colder than I'd ever felt, and I realized peace doesn't need drama. It just needs honesty. Mason stood on the balcony at dawn, watching the pale light seep over the city. Not his penthouse, not the space with floor-to-ceiling windows and $1 million view. This was the place he chose, a simple apartment in Capitol Hill, warm wood floors, thrifted couch, and plants he actually kept alive. A fresh start built on his terms. Morning coffee tasted different now. Rich, bitter but hopeful. He sat at the table reviewing a document, an email from Grandma Jeannie. "I will wait for when you are ready. I love you. Grandma Jeannie." He smiled. Something real in those words. No expectations, just love. The weekend plans felt natural. Sunday brunch, then a hike with Tyler and Leah. Talk of weekend plans without any mention of family obligations. It felt strange at first, liberating shortly after. He put on his favorite navy jacket and stepped out. Hiking trail Rattlesnake Ridge. It hadn't been on his radar before, but Tyler was persistent. "You need honest altitude," Tyler had said, and you got it. The trail was steep but steady. At the top, the view Puget Sound, like glass. Islands floating in muted blues. Clear sky. Mason closed his eyes. No penthouse view. No familiar expectations. Just earth, wind, and distance. August 5th. 1 year since that Thanksgiving dinner. He posted a photo on his anonymous LinkedIn, sunrise over the ridge, coffee cup in hand, caption, "At the top, everything is smaller," including the reasons we hold ourselves hostage. Replies floated in, friends, strangers, people from across the country. "Needed this today. Echoes how I left everything behind. Welcome to freedom." He smiled and deleted the post. No need to explain. He'd shown up for himself. That was enough. Back in Seattle, the job continued to flow. Quiet promotions, new opportunities. He saved aggressively, paid down the trust, stopped chasing perfection. He took evening dance class, salsa on Tuesdays, laughed more, stumbled less, drank coffee with neighbors. One afternoon, a letter arrived. No name, just handwriting he didn't recognize. Inside, a note from Brandon. "Hey brother, I didn't know how to say it before. I miss my big brother. Not the bear you were, the one who helped me build courage. I'm done asking you for things. Just thank you. Maybe one day we can start over. Love, B." He stared at the words. No apology, no explanation, just forgiveness in waiting. A gift he nearly didn't accept. He wrote back, "Brandon, I'm proud of you. Let's walk forward. On our terms. Mason." He dropped it in the mail and felt his chest loosen. The past didn't vanish, but it didn't have to weigh him down. Weeks later, Grandma Jeannie arrived. She spent the weekend at his place, helped prune his plants, shared old stories, and hummed along to his playlist while they cleaned. Over pancakes, she said, "Your strength isn't in the penthouse, child. It's here." She tapped her chest. He nodded. Because she was right. It wasn't perfect. He still got random texts. "Don't forget your family. They're sorry. Come back." He ignored them, gently, firmly, peacefully. On New Year's Eve, he hosted a potluck. No leather couches, no sparkling chandelier, just mismatched chairs and a kitchen table covered in dishes brought by friends. Tyler's lasagna, Leah's beans and pastry, Jenna's pepper cake. They ran out of wine and laughed at that. Tyler invited a neighbor. Jenna brought a stray cat named Pumpkin. He looked around. Each person there had chosen him. No demands, no leverage, no expectations. They hugged, they ate, they cheered as midnight rang in the new year. Midnight. Glass of wine. Laughing faces. Out the window, fireworks. He closed his eyes. Taste of glass on his lips, lights dancing on his skin. He thought of the penthouse, cold and empty. And he thought of this, warm, messy, real. He opened his eyes, raised his glass. To choosing ourselves, they toasted back. And he felt it. Peace. Not a moment, a life. The next morning he woke. Sunlight, laundry, quiet hum of life. He stretched. He whispered, "Finally." This is where the story lives now. Not in the past, not in the penthouse, not in expectations carved over Thanksgiving turkey, but here, in the clarity of morning coffee, the trust of real friends, the kindness we choose to keep. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it too. Also, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? What city and country? And have you or someone you know ever been through something like this?